Hi everyone, Miss Rituman here. Today's lesson is all about solving three-digit division problems with divisors of 2, 3, 4, and 5. Here's what we're going to need for today's lesson. Let's begin. Let's set up 297 divided by 4 into our place value chart. 2 hundredths, 9 tenths, 7 ones, and then below we'll draw our 4 groups. Next, let's write the problem to solve using long division. Let's start by dividing 2 hundredths by 4. Wait, what do you notice? You're right, there aren't enough hundredths to put them into the 4 groups. What can we do? We can break them apart. 2 hundredths is the same as how many tens? 20 tens. Let's show this in our place value chart now. How many tens do we now have? We now have 29 tens. Let's divide 29 tens by 4. Here you can see that we can cross off 5 all at once, and I can place them into one of the groups. And this is because I can see that there are 4 groups of 5, so I can distribute them more efficiently in this way. I now have 9 tens left to distribute. I distributed all of them except for 1. So what is the quotient of 29 tens divided by 4? That's 7 tens. Where do we record the 7 tens in our long division? We record it above the 9. Let's go ahead and do this now. Why do we record the 7 tens here, above the 9? This is because the 9 is in the tens place. It represents the number of tens. 7 tens times 4 equals 28 tens. When we distributed the 29 tens evenly among our 4 groups, was there any remaining? Yes, we had 29 tens and we distributed 28 evenly. We have this one remaining. Go ahead and circle this on your place value chart. Let's return back to our long division. And there is our 110 remaining. What do we do with this remaining 110? We can also break it apart. 1/10 is the same as 10 ones. How many ones do we now have? 17 ones. Let's now divide 17 ones by 4. Go ahead and pause the video here to do this on your place value chart. We'll compare afterwards. We just divided our 17 ones by 4. What's the quotient? 4 ones. We can record it in our long division here. 4 ones times 4 equals 16 ones. How many remaining? 1 1. We see that here in our place value chart and here in our long division. What is 297 divided by 4? 74 with a remainder of 1. How can we check to see if our quotient and our remainder are correct? We can multiply 74 times 4, and then we can add 1, the remainder. Let's go ahead and do this now. 74 times 4. 4 ones times 4 is 16 ones. 7 tens times 4 is 28 tens. Plus 1 more 10 is 29 tens. Now we add the remainder, 1, and that equals 297. Our answer is correct. Do you know how many days there are in 1 week? There are 7 days in 1 week. Do you know how many days there are in 1 year? There are 365 days in 1 year. Now, sometimes there are 366 days in 1 year, but most of the time there are 365 days in 1 year. So we're going to use that number, 365. Do you know how many weeks there are in 1 year? Let's go ahead and draw a diagram to represent this problem. What's the whole? Our whole is 365. We already know that there are 7 days in a week. How can we show this in our diagram? We can partition and label this part here as 7. We're trying to solve for how many weeks there are in 1 year. And we can show that in our model like this. So we know the expression we're trying to solve is 365 divided by 7. How can we represent this problem in our place value chart? We can draw the whole 365 using place value discs, and then we can draw the 7 groups below. Let's go ahead and set this up in our place value chart now. Another way that we can represent this problem is by using long division. Let's go ahead and set this up on our paper as well. Let's go ahead and set it up here on the side. Here's what I'd like you to do next. I'd like you to go ahead and solve for 365 divided by 7. Go ahead and use both the place value chart as well as long division. Be sure to double check your work, and then of course, we'll compare our work afterwards. Go ahead and take a moment to compare your work with mine. Did you find that 365 could be divided by 7 evenly? No, when we divided, there was a remainder of 1. Now in this problem, what does that remainder of 1 mean? It means that there's 1 extra day, since the whole 365 represents the number of days in a year. What does the quotient 52 represent? It represents the number of weeks per year. So what would be a good sentence to answer the question, how many weeks are there in 1 year? We can write the following statement. There are 52 weeks and 1 day in 1 year. Excellent work. For today's assignment, your must-do problems are here on the screen. Go ahead and set the timer or watch the clock for 10 minutes to complete these problems. Of course, if you have any additional time, feel free